Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
It is definitely not morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, everybody. You are tuned in for a midday Java. We are here with Black Dollar US. We're going to come in and we're checking in with everybody around the economic blackout 2025. And so if you're watching right now, do me a favor and hit that share button and invite others in on the conversation. We can ask them how they're doing, what they got going on for lunch. Did they pack lunch? And we're just going to have a conversation about, you know, the different perspectives, where people are with this, who's participating. We'll go over some of the other blackouts and things and actions that are happening. One of the things that stands out to me around this, and I simply hit my brother and I was like, yo, did you go to lunch yet? And he's like, no, not yet. And so we're going to give a few minutes to chat with him before he gets back to work. But this has, in my observation, been the biggest action since the election day around everything that's going on that's anti-DEI and anti basically humanity and all that other stuff. And so we have a limited amount of time with DL, who is the curator and founder of Black Dollar US, not USA, because I always get in trouble for that. So we're going to bring this brother in and do me a favor. You know, there's a lot of opinion and commentary around this subject. And so I'm going to ask them to make sure that you be respectful in your comments and your different opinions and whatnot. So I appreciate that. And we will see you guys in the conversation. Let's go ahead and bring in brother DL. What's up, sir?
How are you, man? Greetings.
I'm going to be honest. I'm doing well. I am actually very excited about what's going on in this whole piece here with what's happening with the economic blackout. So I'm curious about your thoughts about it.
Many thoughts. First off, shout out to Brainchild, you know, the B hat.
Yo, that brother we got to meet the other night at Beautiful Resistance, where we, you know, the little documentary and thing. Thank you.
Oh, that little thing. Yeah. I remember that. That was I remember that night. That was dope. There was a lot happening that night.
I really can't believe we're going to start this early with that type of stuff, but go ahead, sir.
So, you know, definitely wanted to shout him out because it's all about intentionality. And one of the things, I'm paraphrasing, he could say it better than I can, but he wanted to create a hat that represented the B, but didn't have that other attachment to it that sometimes as Black and brown folks we feel, right? So it's almost like a weird abusive relationship when we're wearing a B hat. You know what I'm saying? So because he did it with that intention, I thought it was super dope, and I want to just kind of be in community with that. So I wanted to shout that out. And then this is my lunch break, my lunch hour, and so I wanted to make sure. Wait, see,
Shea Butter, the early. So let's keep it 100. Early on, who went by there and did a little video and put it on social media way before there was a Java? You was trying to connect this, but there is a video that goes back. I would say to 19, maybe early 20 or maybe 21. But anyway, shout out to Shea Butter doing their thing.
And you know, so just so I'm streamlined, I wanna set it with this, right? So I had a conversation.
Hold on, before you do that, I needed to go to another hat.
Oh yeah. I mean that's
wonder.
I noticed that. That's so listen, be clear, it's Black Dollar. Only reason it's US is because Black Dollar is not available on socials, but it's Black Dollar, period.
I thought it was Black Dollar US, and I was saying USA, and it was wrong.
No, you know, it's because you don't care, and you can, you know what I mean? You can care less about me or anything I'm doing, and so it's always an afterthought. So I get it completely.
So when I had the thought today and hit you to see what you was doing, that was an afterthought?
Yeah, you're like, oh, what up, Darren? You know, can you know, and I'm like, no, DL. And you're like, oh yeah, my fault. So yeah, it's all good. I mean, you know, we it can't be perfect. So I want to say I had a conversation with someone who I love. It was yesterday, right? And we were talking about the very thing of today. It's like, oh, you doing that? I don't really understand what the point of it is, and it's only one day, and this, that, and the third, and we speaking from a place of privilege, and this, that, and the third, right? And I had a conversation, and I'll reference the piece that I wrote in the Bay State Banner recently. And I'm paraphrasing, but what I said was we all have a lane, we all have a place, right? And if you are a person where you're not going to call legislators, or you're not going to march, or you're not going to be an activist and flip over tables, maybe you are just in control of where you actually circulate your dollar. Maybe you are intentional about the programs that you support that do the work that you don't have the time or passion for, right? But you should not get in the way. And so, what I mean by getting in the way is you have all these people who are just contrarians, who just want to disagree just for the sake of disagreeing. And I bring that story up because the person who I had a conversation with yesterday, right, texts me, and this is what, and it's a she. This is what she texts me. Got breakfast, not at Dunk's, but Dudley Cafe. My girls wanted to go shopping later. Got to find a local boutique. Almost ordered trash bags from Target, but I stopped. That's me getting out of the way. That's it. I love that.
We have to give people the grace. I've been saying this for a while, and I was talking to someone earlier. I had a conversation as well, and they were giving a perspective that is legitimate about the one-day piece and whatnot. We'll get into that. But since, marching back in the day, and people may have not come out and held signs when we used to march against violence and whatnot, but they would come in their window with a pot and a spoon, or they would ride down the street and beep their horn. And
solidarity.
And that's the level at that time in which they could participate. And I've been saying since this about boycotting and whatnot is there's a population that just, for whatever reason, it's not on their radar. They too busy trying to survive. There's some people that just hustling and just, it's not, some just aren't. Some are at some level and some can't. They rule America.
So this is the thing, and this is what I told her yesterday, not to make the whole conversation, but I thought it was a very interesting and real conversation and sentiment to feelings that people have. She said we speak from such a place of privilege.
And that, it is real.
And I speak from a male privilege. That's why I'm so loud in my intentionality in the domestic violence space. I know that I speak from a place of privilege. Yeah. I get it. Right. So that doesn't then negate what you do with that privilege. Right. So I'm speaking from my POV in Boston and Massachusetts, not even Massachusetts, and Boston and the areas that we know. Right. I can't speak to Duxbury. I can't speak to Mississippi. I can't speak to Florida. I can't speak to Tennessee. I can speak for this. And so there's certain things that and I'm not saying they don't make sense. I'm just saying that I am tired of. So I'm tired of the constant conversations of when people throw around the word accountability. I feel like no snitching, that word is just used and misused all over the place, and it's a talking point. So when I hear accountability, it irks me. When I hear, oh man, I don't get in it. Oh, can we swear?
It's midday Java. It's not morning Java. You good?
So when I hear like, oh, I don't do all that. Like Jim Jones just did an interview on Breakfast Club yesterday. He's like, oh man, I don't really get in that politics shit. I ain't even vote. This is that. I do all the stuff for the community. You know what I'm saying? And I'm this, that, and third. What I say is either you do politics or politics does you, right? And it's different. Again, there's different levels of engagement. You don't have to be a person where you're all in and you're showing up at the State House for hearings and going to town halls and giving testimonies, but don't get in the way. It irks me when people get in the way, yo. Let me just say this. I think that I'll be transparent. So I myself, I don't really shop at Target. So that's an easy kind of buy-in for me not to go, right? However, I love Thai food. Kai Kapow, ground chicken, extra spicy. I love it. Eat it more often than I should, right? And it probably explains some of the weight gain. However, today, guess what I'm not having?
Thai food.
I didn't get gassed. I have 40 miles in my gas tank, right? So you know what I did? And I don't even go there for other reasons that I won't share because it's whatever. But I verified the mobile gas station in Mattapan is owned by a Black woman, right? Now, do I go there? Do I go to Hess and JP? Do I go to Sunoco and West Roxbury? So my point is, we can find little ways to just be on code. I think people go out of their way to not be on code for whatever reason, and it's annoying to me.
It's real. And I think that that's where I've been talking about the grace, because I know that I often have felt, that people should do this. There was the other conversation about, the young people's energy, and they protested but didn't get policy over the line or whatever. I've come to a point that let people participate where they may. And I'm like you, don't be in the way. This is the most populated on social media, active, I believe, participant. I even heard people were calling out of work today since the election. And at least it's something on a national level that everybody's. Someone said, well, it's blackout, so it's not just black. The white people are participating too. The dude that really started and went in and explained this is a white man over. I can't remember it's the People's Union something, but and then there are other actions. But before we get into that, so the point about the frustration is real. But the other part is, even if it's one day, they're going to see a dip in expenditures today. They're going to see a dip in people not using their credit card. They're going to see a dip in people. And I think for me, it's enough of a radar thing for them. Oh, shoot, they're organizing. I said yesterday that there's a lot of grassroots energy, those town hall meetings and people that are pushing back, and the timing of this and whatnot. Women's History Month is next month. We're going to see I got an email today about a women's march. I know our 92% is staying home, but even the 92% is participating in this, so
yeah. Well, the 92%, whether they participate or not, I think that, fortunately, unfortunately, women are leading in the fight and the resistance against. Right?
I saw a post from Tehran saying that, yeah.
And so when you see so many people, and whether people have mixed opinions and mixed sentiments about these, I'm gonna speak for, our Congresswoman Ayanna Presley, right? Yep. I'm gonna speak to, Congresswoman Crockett, right? And I'm gonna speak to. So you made that what?
Because they need to do a little bit more with her, because she is just. They asked her the other day, if you had a chance to say anything to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Hey man, look. And without getting into a whole thing, I got into a conversation about her yesterday with the same person I was talking about the blackout with. Joy Reid was just canceled, right? We're in a time where we see a thing. I see that you have a black hat with a red brim. Mm-hmm. We're in a time where you will tell me, no, it's not red, it's a blue brim.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, anyone that is going to see a thing and say a thing, I appreciate that and I hold space for. I don't care about, I think we get into the minutia of certain things, and everyone has a microphone and everyone has a phone. Even what we're doing here, people will say, well, what the fuck do they know? Right? I think that everyone has an opinion and feels the need to comment. Sometimes just shut up. It's okay, yo. And for people who are telling the truth that's being so distorted where it doesn't even seem like it's the truth, it's frustrating, and it's like we're all in a fog of constantly being high off of mushrooms and fucking acid pills. That's what it feels like. There's so many dumpster fires where you go to try to do this thing and then this thing happens. And then you have the people that just say, well, why do anything? We can't do that. We have to figure it out. The problem is we don't necessarily have identified leaders to kind of guide us to where to go. But even if we did have those identified leaders, people wouldn't follow because you're constantly picking at, I don't like Jasmine's eyelashes. I don't like that she swears. I don't like that. Okay, guys, got it. Got it.
I mean, those are the things, DL, that keep us limited. And for me, it's just baffling. And I'll go and affirm what you just said based on something I said yesterday. But I just don't understand that after a world pandemic, the first iteration of Trump, and now we have, and I said his name, oh my Jesus, because somebody told me to stop saying the racist, rapist, liar. But he who occupies the White House 2.0, something just got to shift. You know what I mean? We're to a point now where death isn't even, shifting, people back to humanity. To your point, there isn't leaders. I am under the impression that in the past, and it's evident with 47, even though you lost an election, that candidate stayed the de facto lead of the party until the next convention. Wouldn't it be wonderful if Kamala right now with the DNC, with Jasmine, Ayanna, let's just shout out as we're on the cusp of Women's History Month tomorrow, those Black women that are leading the narrative of I told you so, and the energy that could have been curated. And my point is about the leadership. We do need leadership. The Black Lives Matter movement came and propagated this theory of leaderful. We were moving away from leaders because a lot of them are personality driven, and some people won't follow.
And they're flawed.
And that's the other thing too, that we got to give people grace for that. But it to the point of what we're doing today, the frustration and sort of, this is an example of some grassroots organizing, the town halls where people are pushing back that the ones that were scheduled for the next couple of weeks, I heard got canceled in Republican districts, some Democratic too, because some constituents are waiting on the DNC. Like, what the hell are y'all doing? We have to today at least harness the energy. Also remember that in whatever planning, or there's some level of organizing going on, DL, because we have a list here. And I named the other day, it seems to me that there's intentionality to give people a break. There's a week between each action. So there's obviously, and this guy that did the video, the People's Union, there's something there. And so we have to give grace to the folks that are going, even the ones that are going to run their mouth and get in the way to some extent. And if they're getting in the way where they're a barrier and we can't get around them, that's one thing. It's expended energy that could be really used and pushed forward. But the other grace we got to give is to those that can't, that won't participate today, that can't, and got to name the privilege that some of us is financial situation I'm in right now. I went and did what I needed to do yesterday, so I don't have to spend any money today. The other thing I named, and I'll shut up, a lot of people get paid today.
Yeah.
We got to give grace to folks that go food shopping on Friday. They got to, so I'll be quiet.
Okay. So to that point, perfect segue. I love that. See, even though you don't love me and there's all types of slights, there is a synchronicity.
Sometimes, but then you can just interrupt it too.
I love it.
Go ahead, bro.
Happy holidays. All right. So I just want to list off a few things.
Go ahead. So
as I mentioned, and you made a face. Why? Let's be honest. Why'd you make a face when I mentioned the mobile gas station?
So a couple of things. One, not so much to Black, but Chris Haynes, who's you might know Chris. He's in the food hospitality space. If you see him, you probably know him. You've been in the same room with him. He let us know today that Dunkin's is no longer locally owned.
Oh,
it's owned by an entity in Georgia. So just there was jokes about no Starbucks today, no Dunkin's, and Chris commented and said, "Oh, sorry to bust y'all bubble." But to your point of mobile being Black owned, that's a whole nother Zoom live.
Yeah, well, because we're talking, so even with that, right? When you talk about, so say if it's a McDonald's and the McDonald's is actually owned by a Black franchisee,
the franchise,
right? It's so many different slithers and splinters of the conversation. But what
Can I
I'm
just
saying,
make a trivial point real quick?
yeah.
Did you know that their organization had their convention here in Boston this year?
Who? Mobile?
The Black Owners Association of McDonald's. All the black owners. It was in Boston. Go ahead.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's another Zoom.
Grace by Nia hosted their one of their dinners.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway.
All right. So the gas station, Mattapan, right? Mobile gas station. If you need gas today, smoothies, right? Where I just showed you, right?
Yep.
Shout out to her. Coffee, Ripple Cafe. For tea, I know Just Bookish. Shout out to Portia.
One clarifying question. He owns both of those mobiles, right?
It's husband and wife.
I'm old. Back in the day, I forgot his name. That owned, I believe, both. But is it the one near American Legion and also Blue Hill? Morton. I want to be specific.
What I found, what I heard was that her and her husband owns it. So
American Legion or Morton?
On Blue Hill Lab, I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know if they own more, but on Blue Hill Lab, right across from CVS.
On Blue Hill Lab.
Gas stations? No, it's not. No, across from CVS.
In Mattapan?
In Mattapan Square. I'm not talking. Listen, give me the floor, please. So Just Bookish. Shout out to Portia. They have tea where I actually met the woman. And I for the sake of time, I'm not gonna but it's a black tea owned company, black owned tea company. And so that's the option for tea if you want tea today. Ice cream, mix-ins and denim, right? They open at 1. Well, they're open now. They open at 1 o'clock. Unbelievable. Talk to the owner before, like super mindful, friendly customer service, and I love that, right? So that's the options. So if you're like, oh man, I want to go to, I need some ice cream. I need some. Go to Dedham, right? It's right there. It's parking. It's ample, whatever. Natural products. You got Ra's Natural Healing. If you feel a need to go to GNC, pivot and do that. But
here's another point of not just today. What you're naming now, that can change to intentionality 365.
Well, that's what I say. So Black Dollar, even though it's clothing, it's a messaging statement, right? The whole idea was basically to have messaging be repeatedly shown to you. So when you see it, you then think of the intentionality and the actions that you can do. So it was never meant as Black Dollar is supposed to come to DL. It's Black Dollar can go to Mixins. Black Dollar can go to Nubian Market, right? And I want to be feasible because it's two things, one thing, sometimes the quality and the price points just don't necessarily align with people's preferences and lifestyle, right? And so I never am telling people to go and support Black owned and it's less than, but you need to support because they're Black, because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. We live in a world where you got Floyd Mayweather that just put online the other day that Trump is the best president. He's the best man for the job. He's the best president that he's seen. You have Daniel Cameron with Breonna Taylor. You have what's the lady's name? Candace Owen. We live in an ecosystem where, as Black people, we have these people who go out of their way to speak against. Mm-hmm. You have Stephen A. Smith that felt the need to do a live about Joy Reid's show being canceled. Why can't you just be quiet? Why is my question. Regardless of what you feel about Joy Reid, why? So I'm at a point where I have very little tolerance for bullshit. Period. And I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers, but being on code is important. So let me just finish and I'll be quiet. So
while you're doing it, can you text it to me so I can make a little quick graphic while you're talking? Text it to me. I can cut and paste and we'll do it right here. Make sure your spelling is correct.
You got Bread in Dorchester. They open at 11:30. They're open now. Merle's Kitchen opens at 1 p.m. They take out only.
Send it right now while you're talking.
Oh, Jeez, Louise, now
Copy.
you're
You
gonna.
can't copy and read and go to the thing at the
Well,
same
because
time.
it's in my email. I was trying to be prepared, but then you want to throw like
Then
Hail
forward the
Marys.
email.
All right, so let me here. I'm gonna text it. All right, so then you got Blue Mountain at Mattapan. They just opened. And they got their liquor license, which I think they're trying to, figure out and get everything situated.
I just heard.
Um,
Just heard about them.
all right, so I'm sending it to you right now. All right, done. For liquor, right? If you're gonna go to a liquor store, this is what I'm saying by like tangibles. So if you're gonna go to a liquor store that's not black owned, because I don't really know. I know you got Fernandez and Black and Brown or whatever, but then it gets into all other type of stuff. But you got Uncle Nearest that is a black owned product, right? So if you're going to go into a store and you want to buy a product, I think being specific and intentional about what you purchase is smart. You have, if you need something done for your car today, you have Hicks Auto Body on Blue Hill Ave, right? That they're actually a legacy business, and Mr. Hicks, rest in peace, they actually named the street on the corner after him. So again, I don't have all of the answers, and I'm not saying that all of these products work for you and that you're interested, or maybe you had a bad experience. But when we're talking about grace, I think the amount of grace that we give each other is unbelievable. And I'm a person where, as the person wearing a black dollar flag, it's a ton of disappointment I experienced on many levels that I would never air out on Java with Jimmy ever.
I mean,
Because
you're the
why?
reason. The little
Because-
bit that I do now, you're the reason that when it comes to our businesses and my frustration, because there was one recently, and there's two people that popped in my head that I don't post no more. You and Nia. You know what I mean? Because it was the same situation. You hit me and gave what it does, and then Nia hit me to liaise that situation.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? So
we're speaking from two different points. I'm speaking from a person that doesn't own a black restaurant, and I'm not into hospitality, right? And so I'm speaking for Nia, and then Nia is speaking for Nia, and also
and the other business,
and
yep.
Chef Dave's, and Estella's, and like, it's again, man. I think we're in a time where there's so many fires and there's so many things happening. You have federal funding being frozen. You have thousands and thousands of people losing their jobs. You have people who, we're literally in a space where James, not wishing anything on anybody. If you have a death in the family today and I call you and I'm like, oh man, my condolences, I'm so sorry to hear that. Tomorrow, it's a death in my family. Tomorrow, there is a fire and the house burnt. Like, we're constantly just all over the place, and we can't even stop and feel for someone else because we're trying to survive.
Yep.
All I'm imploring people is like, yo, just don't get in the way. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a policy guy, right? For people who do policy and people who are writing bills and writing laws, I don't have the foresight to say, damn, on Blue Lab, there's not a lot of places to have liquor licenses that I can go in and have a drink because I'm so conditioned to going downtown to have a drink. But I am grateful to, I believe Chuck Turner was a part of the initial conversations, right? If I don't remember, but I may be speaking out of turn. But a long time ago, the conversation of the liquor licenses was being had. I know it just
Congresswoman Presley when she was a city councilor. Yep.
Yes. So for me, I'm appreciative and thankful to those who were doing that, right? But they are doing things on a different level, and that will serve a different amount of people and population of people. And I, in my own small capacity, I can do what I can do. You know what I'm saying?
And that's all that we can ask and give people the grace to do it for others. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No pun intended. Grace by Nia. But it's just very, very interesting. I wanna read a piece that I said. I said, this is from the banner.
You about to do a article, you're not about to spit.
Yeah, so I wrote an editorial that came out in the banner. What I said is you may not, huh?
I said, okay, Dio, can you send me the link and I can put it in a hyperlink right now?
Yes, I'll send it to you now. Let me see, James. Wait, is it? Oh, damn. Wait, which one? The info?
Or you can put it in the private chat right here on the computer. There's a little
All right,
private chat thing on the right.
let me do that. Yeah, that's
Send the
easier.
whole
All
link.
right, boom. So that's done. So
Okay.
what I said was, you may not be an activist. You may not be someone that will march. Maybe you will call legislators. Maybe you sign petitions. Maybe you donate to organizations who are doing that work, or simply redirect your dollars. This is not an opportunity to be an outlier and think differently. Freedom of thought and not following the crowd and being a sheep is what my daddy taught me from the age of 4. However, this is not a moment of creative actions within the boycott. For example, maybe you go in and only buy this, and maybe you go and buy that. This is an in or out moment. Whatever your position is, stand on it, but also understand what you are effectively and ultimately saying at the same time. Take this opportunity to seek out Black businesses that have been anxiously waiting to welcome your business. With these sentiments, as the founder of Black Dollar and co-founder of For Your Review Services, I am never encouraging mediocrity with your purchases and settling for less. So while I encourage you to, as a consumer, to put a 10-time supercharge on every dollar you possess, I ask the business owners to show up, show out, and prove why you deserve to get that reallocated dollar. Mic
It
drop.
is it. I don't have that sound here. I mean, it is important with the intentionality that you pointed to earlier, and less critique. A critique is cool, but there's a way to do it. And then just one point of clarity, thanks to Asia, she did mention that Chuck Turner was an initial part of the conversation with the liquor licenses. He was definitely council at that time, Councilwoman Presley.
But you see, it takes that. It takes, like, you may not, you know what I'm saying? You may take this and move it here, and then it takes someone else to move it here. Take someone else to, like, that's, but if you have the attitude of, oh, nothing matters and what difference does it make, nothing gets done. And it just bothers me when, to this day, oh, man, I don't get in all that political shit. Okay.
If you flush the toilet, you're political. If your kids take the school bus to school and go to BPS, you're political. If you ever called the police or went over a pothole, you're political. Thank you.
Well, I think, and so circling back to the boycott piece, I think that we are in a moment where there's a ton of distractions, and devices that constantly have our attention. So the methods and the streamlining of back in the days with the Montgomery bus boycott, those measures are not going to work the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does a person get out this day and this economic blackout to my child, my child's friend, my grandmother? Like, how do you get the message out to all of these different people that have different levels of engagement with media, social media, phone calls, friends, community, etc.? So I think that it is at least a strategic effort to try to get these things done, even in saying, don't buy anything today. And if you are going to buy something, have it be from Black and brown businesses, unless it is medically related. And I think it was like prescriptions and things like that, right? Because if someone needs their diabetes medication, like, you're going to tell them to wait till tomorrow, like, that's, but it's just at least the effort. Like, Target stock has gone down. Like, I don't have the numbers of that, but it works.
It's in the billions.
Yeah.
It's in the billions.
And their stakeholders feel away and they're complaining because ultimately, and this is what I'll say, from what I understand, there was a pledge of $1 amount from Target to Black and brown businesses. And before that contract was up, they have broken the contract. So, like anyone that has a contract, anyone that has a business, whether it's Shauna, shout out to her, with, doing open streets. If she has a contract to do open streets for said date, and then the city decides to renege, Shauna can then say, hey, this is a problem, and she can litigate. You have that right.
As she should. Yep.
And I don't understand when you have, the brother Carlton Maxwell, and I posted the story on I posted the clip from Tamika Mallory on Instagram.
That's going viral right now.
It's like 200,000 views, and it's like insane, right? And he sent me a message, and like we're going back and forth and talking. But there are people that have gone on a page and they'll be like, oh, you know, he wasn't in 1900 stores and all this is a lie. And Pastor Jamal Bryant was getting a piece of the back end anyway. And when I see those messages, I make the choice to delete it. Why? Because I don't want that in the space that I curated.
Yeah.
And people come in there and they'll tag Tabitha Brown and they'll say, you know, Tabitha, you listening? I didn't create that post as a knock to Tabitha in a live that she did. We all have different roles to play. I don't know if Tabitha is having conversations with Target behind the scenes or not. And I personally don't care. All I do know is that someone did something that I myself would align with, and I wanted to highlight it. So if you're going to come in talking any bullshit, block button immediately.
I mean, Dio, you're talking to somebody who, you know, and I said it on the show the other day, whatever. So a public figure and is somewhat open and by default have to give a certain level of access, you know, to opinions and critiques and whatnot. But when it's a thing, when the energy's try to controlling or you're trying to use my influence and platform to get something else done. Oh yeah, I feel you right there. Not directly related to the subject, but in the spirit of what you're saying. Oh, I agree. And that energy is anyway. I want to go.
We all have choices. We all have choices. We can either engage in it, right? And sometimes it's entertaining. And I'm trying to protect my
every once in a while. I'll engage with the
sometimes you got to pop out show.
Just for sport. I just sometimes with the racists, I just feel froggy that day and just want to have some fun and piss them off and tell them about their typical lower IQ and lack of education.
But you know what? It doesn't even hit because it doesn't matter. Like we're in a time where like I'm seeing a thing and you're telling me it's not a thing. You're gonna tell me that it's snowing outside right now, right? That's what we are. That's just what it is. So shout out to Sheena, right? With Boston While Black, find your tribe. I am looking for my tribe. So just because we have the same skin tone, just because we are from the same place, just because we grew up on the same street, you are not in my tribe.
Yeah. And the reality of that is that shouldn't necessarily be a thing that keeps us separate when we need to unify. We may not always be unified, but when we need to unify around something and come together and be quiet and just, if you're not participating, why is it that you need to let us know?
Yeah. Because by being silent, you look at that as you're being complicit and you're being a sheep, right?
Well,
and so that's
what? Because it.
Well, so so what you said earlier, which I think people are still not learning from, is that regardless of him losing and then coming back and still being a front runner, is because people put their differences and personal opinions about him. His vice president called him Hitler, right? They put their differences aside and got behind the force to get their agenda moved.
And they've been doing it for centuries.
Yeah. So, you know, but again, man, like I don't have the answers. I don't even know what I'm doing in 2 weeks. Right? I know it's on my calendar, but I don't know what I'm doing in 2 weeks.
What are you doing in 3 weeks on March 22nd?
Is this a selfless plug?
A little bit.
I don't know. What am I doing on March 22nd?
If you can't say it, then I'm not saying it.
Wait. Is it Java with Jimmy anniversary?
Mm-hmm. The Javaversary.
You know, this wouldn't, you know, this, yeah.
Go ahead. All right.
I'll put it in my calendar. But I will. So what I will say is, again, man, I just think small incremental steps. And what I always say to people every time I'm vending or doing something and talking to someone about what Black Dollar is, I say, just look at your week and what you spend your money on. And so instead of if you go to Starbucks every day, maybe on Thursday, you go to Dudley Cafe, Ripple Cafe, or, you know, just little incremental things. Because asking someone to buy black when they're conveniently doing stuff is a disruption. And I don't think that I have the luxury and the privilege to tell someone to inconvenience themselves, right?
And that's a real should be appreciated and has the opportunity to sustain a movement approach. You meet people where they are, and if it's Thursday, let that be Thursday for them. 6 months from Thursday, they're in or getting ready to go to the supermarket. They're so used to Thursday, they ride past Nubian and like, well, I'm not going to go to Stop and Shop. Let me try Nubian Market out. So it's bro. Not to get too deep. It did not take us decades to get here. It's taken centuries. And Pulse, what some people would name, to keep it simple, Pulse. I don't even want to say the word. I get in trouble. Pulse, what happened to us in slavery and all of that. To some extent, there is a paradigm and thinking shift that we must take. And as much as we've advanced, we got a canyon to grow, even if that growth is in a space of unifying when we need to. That's just Black, let alone talking about Black men supporting Black women supporting Black men. And that's a whole nother Zoom.
It's a whole other thing. And, itself. It's I think that there's so much brokenness in there. I mean, it's so layered, and our community is so layered. And, the very people you are fighting for are fighting against you. And that gets draining. You know what I'm saying? And when I see things that directly are helping people in a real way, real tangible way, not pie in the sky. And then you have people who are going out of their way to say, oh man, people ain't doing, and everybody's just collecting a check and this, that, and the third. And then when you start digging in and you're looking at people and you see that people are, and we all are getting older. And by the grace of God, that should be the goal, right? People are getting older. They may not be happy where they are in life. Things may not have panned out the way they thought they were going to pan out. People may have hurt them continuously. People may have stolen their IP, their intellectual property. People may have shown up in rooms where they put them in and hooked them up, and now all of a sudden they're not getting it's all these things that's happening in real time that we are constantly dealing with and fighting against. And so just by me and you being on this live, there are people, fuck them, they're blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
Cowboy Jimmy, he ain't influential. And what the fuck does DL know? Listen, man, listen, guys, please. God bless is what I say.
I just heard what's his face? Rodney, what's his name? Can't we all just get along? What was his name?
Rodney King?
Yeah. I heard that.
No, I don't want to get along. I don't. I'm past the ally shit. No, I'm past, I think that there was a lot of, after George Floyd's murder, there was a lot of solidarity, it seemed, and a lot of commitments and allyship. I don't believe in it anymore.
Oh, no, I was talking about within us, not even the allies.
I'm getting to that.
Oh.
I don't believe in the allyship. I feel like now it was all transactional and beneficial. And when it comes to us, there is a constant a thing where it's all me, I. So because Java with Jimmy is not the host of said event, he won't go. And not only will he not go, which is his right, he's gonna then go on live and talk about how that event shouldn't even be happening.
Now, let me be fully transparent.
That's my problem.
There have been some things where I've been like, in the context of what you said of bringing people into rooms, and you know the things where the influences had impact, but never in a disparaging manner. Like, why? Because there's things like reciprocity. Since being industry adjacent, or whatever, it's a very interesting space. You know what I mean? So not to get off subject, but then there's the whole industry in Boston thing that is a whole different
it's a thing. And then people, Black elites and all this stuff. And what I have realized is, yes, I think there are certain things that happen. I think us as Black people, I'll speak of, I'm not going to speak to Black and brown, but us as Black people do not have a history of
Be careful there, because, and I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, trolls, be careful because somebody might take and try to misconstrue that. But go ahead.
It'll all be misconstrued, and it is what it is, right?
Okay.
But I think that what's I gonna say? I think that we don't have a history of secession, and
Hold
what?
on, I can't see it. Okay, stop looking like an old man. Wait a minute, I'm going to read it.
You
looking
made it, so I mean, it looks kind of crazy.
I did it because it looks better for the aesthetic in the middle of the day on Instagram. That's why I did it in this format, sir.
I mean, you know.
Now, can I get to reading Nia's comment? One of our space curators that we celebrated yesterday for Black History Month.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't. I didn't know, but
that's probably because you didn't get your cup of Java yesterday. We celebrated Nia, Dark, Sheena, and Mike D's.
I was on that live.
So then how do you not know?
Oh, I thought you said you were there with her last night. Did you go?
I said we celebrated her yesterday.
Oh yeah, I was on that. Show. I tagged Nia and I gave her. Yeah. All right. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss.
We got to get ready to let you get back to work because obviously you need to eat. Our current reality is a result of people being comfortable and convenienced. Sometimes inconvenience is the call to action and the required warfare. That in itself,
thank you,
to a good point, because the call in itself that puts people in a mindset to even consider, for some, is progress. To the people that right now that just will never won't, maybe not the best vernacular, but to her point, the last part there about the inconvenience of the call to action in itself.
Sometimes we have to walk.
I understood right. Yeah.
And you know, I always use this because I feel like it was the best example for me to shift some things. But when it was the boycott of stashes on Blue Halav, and the guy called the woman a name, and everyone was going live, and it was
came up in my convo earlier. So if they're watching, I'm about to get a text.
It was people. You know, it was outside. It was alive, and I'm all for that. I'm not against it. My problem was when I would drive by, I would see people who looked like you and I still going in there to get food. I would still see delivery drivers for Uber and DoorDash going and picking up orders. So just because you're not physically going in, don't be sneaky about it and order it through DoorDash because it's convenient. Sometimes we have to walk, guys. It's okay. It's a slice of fucking pizza. It's okay. Believe me. We're not asking. Listen, this is a bigger deal to me. If
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
If people were saying, hey, man, you know, National Grid and EverSource, we're not telling people to have a literal blackout. We're saying.
A side note.
That's a literal blackout. That's so.
No, but side note about I think it's both the utilities. Andrea and AG Campbell and them are getting ready to go after them because their prices are crazy and gouging and whatnot. But
to that point, right? What we are talking about is economic blackout, right? For today, one day for now for this, and then you have legislators that are doing that part. Everyone is in different pockets and doing different things, right. And that's how it works. And if you do not want to participate in any bucket, if when you know, Attorney General Campbell or Governor Healy sends a message and say, hey, we need everyone that is a customer of EverSource to email a letter. If you choose to not do that, perfect. But do not go live and say, this book, blah, 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 I'm happy with my service. And listen, guys.
Hold on. So Carlos Enriquez helped me with this because I used to be of the school of thought, you don't vote, you don't count. If you don't vote, you can't complain. Carlos was like, they're paying because he said if they're paying taxes, if they're constituent. So taxes was the thing, at least to put me in the mindset of even if they don't vote, if they're paying, and by hook or crook, if they're working, they're paying taxes one way or another. So in that premise, they have something to say. So
it's a bigger conversation with that.
It goes, for me,
you're not voluntarily paying; you have to pay, right? You're not opting in to pay taxes.
The point of what I'm trying to make is, I want, and I hear the spirit, and 99.99% agree with what you're saying. I just think that because we can win them. To Nia's point, the inconvenience is they're still paying that bill. The inconvenience is when we get a victory, they're going to benefit, but there's going to be something in them. Well, damn. Well, for some of them, well, damn, I didn't, I'm benefiting from this and I didn't even participate. There might be a shift. So, if they do, if we can hook them and get them in.
I don't care about that, yo.
Now, Daniel, I'm in some spaces and places. I'm with you with some of that.
And we're about to wrap up, so I won't even get it. But it's similar to like what Democrats were doing, where they were trying to get the moderate voters and trying to get the people who voted for what's her name?
Jill. Jill Stein. Oh
no, not the lady. The lady that was running against Trump. And she had a large amount of people following her.
Nikki
Haley,
who's out here now trying to call Trump out, and everybody, the hashtag for the day was, but you endorsed him.
Yeah, I mean, but like, they were so focused on going after the people who were undecided and the people who were the Haley voters, instead of doubling down on your base and speaking specifically to the people who have voted you in and kept you afloat. So I do not walk through my life trying to possibly persuade someone, possibly if they understand, because the reality is it's a me. Everyone only cares about me. The text that I started this conversation with the sister who I love, and we had a conversation in love yesterday, right? Even though there was some disagreements from her to what I said, she sent me that text. So it let me know that it
was in love, and it wasn't.
It's about the messenger
and hateful, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so if people are not trusted brands, and whatever that may be, the message is going to get distorted.
Hold on. Mama Java thought you forgot who ran against Trump.
No, Mama Java.
Watch that tone.
Well, no, like I'm. Listen, and I purposely didn't bring her up because even with. Man, listen.
Okay, listen. It's 2:30, and thank you because you got to get back. We talked about tax dollars, and sir.
Yeah, man.
I need you to get back to work.
Yeah. See now, Oh man. All right.
I'm messing. Dio, we could pick this up and actually maybe do it after dark. Because I think it's a different conversation.
Bring some other people in too, man.
I was just thinking that because I want to go back to this segment I did a couple of years ago called Black Mental Wealth. Maybe it could be a collaboration between Black Dollar and Java with Jimmy. Also, y'all keep in mind there's going to be a collaboration with Black Dollar and Java with Jimmy dropping real soon because my self-care is expensive. Brother DL, I'm going to go ahead and folks that know what that means, they know what's happening. I need to ask Asia one thing before we go. Asia said, and this might be for you, I just want to make sure you don't need to clarify what she said. Well, she wanted to call in and fuss at you. Asia, what did you say where you said Jake's instead? Oh, here it is. James, she meant to say is, can you ask folks to send items after they've shared it, be throwing them all off their focus? That was the only part I didn't understand. Asia, ask them to share. I don't know if it was the items of
the things that I mentioned.
Maybe.
Well, if she can clarify, but shout out to Asia. And ironically enough, I just got word from my intel that her husband's actually wearing Black Dollar today. Somebody seen him and spotted him. Was like, yo,
Black Dollar's up there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We got Black Dollar, Brainchild,
man.
With Jimmy.
But listen, this is on a closing note. Again, Black Dollar was always a messaging statement. And so I didn't know what hat you were wearing. I could have worn a Black Dollar hat. I have the hoodie on just because I have it on, right? And this is a partnership with Meet Boston because, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got to pop my shit. But
you got a partnership with Meet Boston? Shout out to Sister Helena and whatnot. All right.
Yeah. So, but I purposely wore this hat because the intention and the sentiment is aligned.
Yep.
So, I'm intentional. That word that word, like accountability, is overused and people just be throwing it around just because it sounds good. When I say it, I mean it.
Yeah.
And what I will, and
You're
what I will
intentional about
really,
intention.
what I really will end on, and I'm gonna speak in such a way where it's cryptic, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Uh-oh. Lord
There was
Jesus.
an invitation that I got, and I didn't accept it until I had a conversation with you
Oh,
to make sure that certain things were good. Now, I didn't have to do that, but
you did not.
for me, right? For me,
Mhm.
it's important to be on code. And I know that others are not going to do that. And that's,
Yep.
I'm
And
fine
it's
with.
much appreciated.
It is what it is. And
Yeah,
so,
and it's much appreciated because that one thing that Miguel said to me, he was like, Jimmy, often you get frustrated because you expect the same level of loyalty that you give somebody else. That was a first level of loyalty in that sense, bro, that I literally on the way home, I was like, well, goddamn. So bro, it's appreciated. And it's not, you all see this public, but me and this brother been rocking for a long time. And I'm just proud of you, man. See what you're doing. You staying steady and doing it, and get back to work because you need to get off of here. And we technically didn't start till 2:33 because I had to count down. So talk to you later, Dio.
all right, bro. Love, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Peace.
All right.
Listen, I had to get him off of here real quick because you know how people is. But shout out for everything that he does in the city as well. So let's just get this back together so y'all can see me. I'm going to get ready to get off of here. Today is Friday. We had a pop-up midday Java. I did not forget that some weeks ago, people did say that they would like a midday Java one day during the week. I'm thinking Wednesday, as I'm slowly but surely getting my life together and the brand. A lot of things are coming post the anniversary. So that is it for me today. We will see you guys Monday at 10 a.m. Shout out to Miss Teresa, to Nisi, to Asia, to Belinda. Also, who else did I see in? And folks over on Instagram. Evelyn, I added those two folks to the list, except Manny. He's not like open with a hard brick and mortar. I was gonna say hard copy. Not a building, a brick and mortar to go there today. So we were kind of focusing on people if they needed to go somewhere today. Evelyn also said we have to be intentional with our dollars and change our habits. And shout out to everybody else that was watching on Instagram. Definitely want to thank Evelyn because she was the plug to me being at GBH. And had they kept a hold of her, I might still be at I don't like cold coffee. I might still be at GBH. So, yeah, we're going to get ready to go. No, not yet, Miss Teresa. I saw your comment early, so I guess you slept. Nisi said that I will, this format is, I will not be shopping today. They need to feel the dollars. They need to feel that. They need to feel our dollars matter. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sharon Cornelius, good morning. Good afternoon, sunshine. I thought you was talking to me. Good afternoon, sunshine. Danielle, what's up, sister? I've been seeing you active over on Facebook and whatnot. Good to see you in the room. Good to see you. All right, folks, we're going to get off of here. To Ma, Miss Teresa, a couple of folks. D&D is my portion this weekend. So folks will not be hearing from me until Monday. I'll do a check-in, and I got to get ready for this anniversary, lock in, rest, and lock in. So anybody reaching out that don't hear back this weekend, I ain't going nowhere. Staycation. Sharon said, why do I feel the need to shop? Went though. Look who's in the Pam. I was getting ready to say buenos dias. Shout out to Pam that was in the building. She's so busy. They had the thing at Chez Vu's last night. The skate, I was going to say skate-a-thon. I'm old, Jesus. The skate event, the Boston Ed Fund. So that is it. And I know what that's about. Not till what you call it, Monday. I ain't doing no business. I know there was a meeting today. Ow. Oh, Jesus. All right. Let me get off of here. Miss T, I'll check in. There's a skate event tonight. Pam, I read the one yesterday. So that's why the flyer said remix. Hold on. So there was a skate event for Boston Education Fund yesterday at Chez Vu's. And so they're having another one tonight. So let me just get the information. Well, it says Chez Vu's tonight at Pam. Put what time? Oh, last night was 21 plus. Oh, that's the one I should have came to. Okay, well, Ma, what do you mean that I enjoyed last night? You went to you talk about the show or Chez Vu's? So anyway, last night was the 21 plus. Tonight is all ages. So go out and support. Tonight is, well, I'm sure 21 plus was family friendly too, but tonight is all ages at Chez Vu's. Shout out to the family over there. That Black owned business. Shout out to Pam that is leading that work. Miss T said that her knees, doors open at 6 o'clock. Yeah, Milagro, I'm asking Ma about last night because that answered that comment right there. Looks like you was over at Chez Vu's. And so anyway, I'm going to get off of here. We did have the show last night at Talk of the Neighborhood with Dave Halpert. It was a great experience being on that other side of the desk and lending some commentary around politics and my story and job with Jimmy. So we'll be sharing some of that next week. And that is it for me. When you go to Chez Vu's tonight, make sure that you say BEDF at the door. Make sure you say BEDF at the door. I think that is it. All proceeds benefit. All proceeds go to support the Equity Fund at Boston Education Fund. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll see you on Monday at 10 a.m. here in the Java Cafe. I want to thank Black Dollar for a very last minute. Thank God they didn't take lunch yet, for coming in and chatting with us about the economic blackout. Don't forget the next one is scheduled for March 7th through 14th. And we are basically being asked to, if not at least limit your orders from Amazon, which is inclusive of Prime purchases and also Whole Foods. So now, the good thing, Whole Foods got the good stuff. If I go on the 6, more than likely, yeah. So that one, ordering ain't been an issue. I ain't been ordering from Amazon. Whole Foods, from the 7th through the 14th. The next action is no Amazon. Okay? Do it where you can. That's it for me. UC members, y'all just couldn't wait. UC members, y'all get 90 minutes today, impromptu on a Friday in a pop-up Java. That's it. We'll check in with you guys next week. And have a great weekend, everybody. And we will talk to you soon. Peace.